Hey, my friends, it is March the 3rd. Sorry, I had to look down at my notes. Yeah, it just happens. It just happens so fast that we just can't remember what day it is. Even though we knew like 2 seconds ago what the date was and the day. Okay. We are going to, oh wow, look at two exceptions, right? I know you saw that word. You did, didn't you? I know you saw it over in verse 30. And maybe you even underlined it. Because maybe you're starting to look for those like words that just jump out at you, right? Those words that seem to, I would describe them as they don't sound like Old Testament words, right? And that's one of the reasons I love the NLT is it's just plain language. There are still things that are a little difficult to understand, but I love to find those words that just don't sound Old Testament-ish. Old Testament-ish. I just made that word up. And this is one of them. And it just thrills me that that these two men were exceptions to the punishment. I can't imagine what it might have been like to hear, hey, well, y'all aren't going in there. I've had it. I've had enough. I mean, I remember as a parent, it's like moving the goalpost just a little bit further out. Just, I'm giving you a little bit more chances here. A few more chances. And finally, we get to, as parents, we're like, I'm up to here. I'm done. The end. Talk to the hand because the ears are not listening any longer. I'm done. Stick a fork in me, right? And then we sometimes, at least for me, I'm maybe I'm the only one guilty of this, but in my anger, I didn't pause and process everything, and I threw out some crazy punishment like you're not driving again till you're 30. Well, you know that's not going to happen. But that's God. He meant business. And you can hear him in his conversation with Moses. And don't you just love the man that Moses has become? Just remember when we started the journey, that God would tell Aaron and Aaron would tell Moses, then Moses would tell the people. Or God would tell Aaron and Aaron would tell. It was, he just didn't have his leader legs, and he's found them. And he is so confident, and he is so, he just goes right before the Lord on behalf of the people. I love that kind of leader. I love that kind of leader that prays for his people and intercesses for his people. And after that intercession that he has in verse 13 through 19, he comes in, the Lord's response, he says, okay, I'll pardon them as you have requested, but as surely as I live and as surely as the earth is filled with the Lord's glory, not one of these people will enter the land. Oh, okay. They all have seen my glorious presence and miraculous signs I performed both in Egypt and the wilderness. But again and again, they have tested me by refusing to listen to my voice. They have treated me with contempt, he says. And I swore to give their and they will never see the land I swore to give their ancestors. None of those who have treated me with contempt will ever see it. Caleb has a different attitude than the others, and he has remained loyal to me. I'm not going to read the rest of it. And then you go down to our key verse. Did any just in your notes, in your comment section, did anybody see exceptions besides me? That would be fun. You will not enter and occupy the land I swore to give you. The only exceptions will be Caleb, son of, I don't know how to say that name, Jephunneh, and Joshua, son of Nun. That's all. They are exceptions. Exceptions possess the land. And I use the word land figuratively, not literally. But exceptions get to the place of promise. Maybe it's land. Maybe, like me, it was starting my publishing career. Which I really never thought that would ever happen, because I'm not a good speller and grammar's not my strength. But God downloads things in my head and in my heart, and we work together, and then I have great editors. But many of you might not know this story, but I really had the book Wait and See in my heart for 10 plus years. And I just said to the Lord, I know I have this book, and I kept getting rejected. And then one day driving down the road, the Lord showed me in a vision 4 pieces of paper. Or white, I'm assuming paper, 4 pieces of paper. Blank pieces of paper. And he said, these are your books. And that was pretty much it. In other words, I got this covered. You're going to write these. Now, just stop whining about it and hold on and do what I've asked you to do. And I would love to say, I was just like, all right, Lord, I'm just going to put this aside on the figurative shelf, and I'm going to just gladly do what you've asked me to do. I didn't. I tried really hard. I did. I had to refocus lots of times. But finally, it was time. And I believe God found me to be the exception at that point and for that season in my life. So it might not be a parcel of land, but it's a place of promise. Something that God has just put on your heart. This will happen. And those people possess the land, the exceptions. And let's just look real quickly. The exceptions submit to God rather than rebel against Him. They also obey God rather than test Him. And they respect God rather than treat Him with contempt. And might I say, they follow the leader that God has placed in front of them. They did. They followed and they obeyed Moses. In fact, those of you that know the rest of the story, it doesn't end exactly perfect for Moses, but it does for Joshua and Caleb. I'm not going to give a spoiler alert for those that haven't read the whole story of Moses, but it finishes well for Joshua and Caleb because they were exceptions. And I want to live a life. I want to live an exceptions life. I do. Exceptions have a different attitude. Remember, Scripture says that Caleb had a different attitude. Exceptions have a different attitude than the complainers, the contempters, and the rebellious. They do. They have a different attitude. And that's what I want. Is I want to live with that attitude of an exception, that I submit, I obey, and I respect God, but also I follow my leaders because God appointed them. Yeah. So, or how are you doing in the land, in possessing your land, or possessing your promise? How are things going there? We'll talk to you the next time on Read Through the Word.